Before we start, here are some important words for you. Freedom, the right to live and act as you want. Peace, no fighting or war. Prison, a place where people are kept when they break the law. Leader, a person who guides and helps others. Justice, fairness, and following the law. Courage, being brave, even when it is hard. Change, to make something different. Hope, believing good things will happen. Repeat the words with me. Freedom, prison, leader, justice, courage, change, hope. Early life of Nelson Mandela. Nelson Raleigh. Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in a small village called Mvezo in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. His family belonged to the Dembu people, part of the larger Xhosa nation. His father, Godla Henry Mfikaniaswa, was a respected chief, and his mother, Nozakini, was gentle and deeply caring. When Nelson was just a boy, his father passed away. After this, Nelson was taken to live with a local chief who became his guardian. Living there, he saw both the traditions of his people and the struggles of ordinary Africans under white minority rule. South Africa at that time was not free. White people controlled the government, the land, and the wealth. Black South Africans were treated unfairly, forced to live in poor areas, and denied basic rights. This unfair system later became known as apartheid, a word that meant apartness or separation. Nelson grew up playing with other children, tending to animals, and listening to elders tell stories around the fire. But as he grew older, he started to notice the deep inequalities around him. His teachers gave him the English name Nelson, as was common in schools run by missionaries. Still, his real name, Raleigh, meant pulling the branch of a tree, a name that would later symbolize his role in shaking the roots of oppression in South Africa. Can you say the word freedom? Repeat after me. Freedom. Can you say the word change? Repeat, change. These two words would become the guiding lights of Nelson Mandela's life. Chapter 2. Nelson becomes a leader. As Nelson grew older, he studied hard. He was one of the few black South Africans of his time to attend university. He studied law at the University of Fort Hare, and later at the University of Witwatersrand, where he faced many challenges but never gave up. At university, Mandela met people who believed in justice and equality. Together, they began to dream of a South Africa where black and white people could live together in peace. Mandela became active in the African National Congress, ANC, an organization fighting for the rights of black South Africans. He quickly rose to leadership because of his strong voice, his courage, and his determination. He believed in peaceful protest, but the government did not want change. They used police, soldiers, and strict laws to silence those who spoke against apartheid. Mandela's work made him a target. In 1962, he was arrested and later sentenced to life in prison. He would spend the next 27 years behind bars. Prison is a place where people stay when they break the law. But Nelson's only crime was wanting equality for his people. Imagine being locked away for nearly 3 decades, separated from your family, your children, and your freedom just because you wanted justice. Can you say the word leader? Repeat, leader. Can you say prison? Repeat, prison. Chapter 3. The power of courage and hope. Prison was harsh. Nelson Mandela was sent to Robben Island, a cold and isolated place in the ocean near Cape Town. Prisoners there had to do hard labor, breaking stones in the hot sun. They slept on thin mats, ate little food, and were not allowed to see their families often. But even in prison, Mandela never gave up. He believed in hope, the belief that no matter how dark times seem, light will come. Hope kept him alive. He read books, studied, and even completed his law degree while behind bars. He also taught other prisoners about leadership, unity, and the importance of staying strong. Mandela had something else: courage. Courage means being brave, even when things are very difficult. For 27 years, he endured prison life, but he never allowed bitterness to poison his heart. Instead, he dreamed of freedom, not just for himself, but for every South African. Can you say courage? Repeat after me. Courage. Nelson Mandela's courage inspired millions of people around the world. From Africa to Europe, from America to Asia, people marched, sang, and protested, demanding his release. He had become a symbol of hope. Chapter 4. Freedom and Peace. Finally, on February 11th, 1990, after 27 years, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison. He was older, his hair had turned gray, but his spirit was strong. The world watched as he raised his fist in the air, a symbol of victory and freedom. Soon after his release, Mandela continued the fight against apartheid. But instead of calling for violence or revenge, he called for peace. He wanted South Africa to heal, not to remain divided. In 1994, South Africa held its first free and fair elections. For the first time in history, Black South Africans could vote. Millions stood in long lines to cast their ballots. And when the votes were counted, Nelson Mandela was elected the first black president of South Africa. As president, he worked to bring people together. He believed in forgiveness, unity, and building a new nation where everyone, black or white, could have equal rights. His dream of peace and justice had come true. But Mandela's story was not just about politics. It was about the power of hope, courage, freedom, and change. He showed the world that even when life is unfair, one person's strength and determination can change the course of history. Can you say peace and justice? Repeat: peace, justice. Conclusion: what Nelson Mandela teaches us. Nelson Mandela's story teaches us to be brave and hopeful. We can change the world by believing in justice, peace, and freedom. Even when times are hard, never give up. Let's say the vocabulary one last time: freedom, peace, prison, leader, justice, courage, change, hope. Thank you for listening. Keep learning English and be brave like Nelson Mandela.